Gaidusek. I'm Jenna Gaidusek, and I am back with your monthly AI update. And I'm going to update you on all the tools that I'm currently using right now. And I say all, but I've consolidated a lot over the summer. So I want to share what I'm using, when I'm using it, and where I have been able to shave off some of these other tools. All right, so let's start with the core AI tools that I'm using on a daily basis. And I'm going to have more tools in this section than you are probably going to have. And the only reason is because I test them, I compare them, and then I tell you about them, okay? So go-tos for AI tools on a day-to-day basis, you're going to want to check out, of course, ChatGPT, Gemini by Google, Perplexity AI in the Comet browser, which we can talk about here in a second, and Microsoft Copilot if you are a Microsoft user, okay? So if you use Google, Gemini is going to be baked into Google for you anyway. So when you're in your Google Drive, Sheets, email, there's components up at the top using this little spark symbol for Gemini. So just start looking for those types of things because they're getting better and they're getting more baked into your day-to-day tools. All right. Same thing with Copilot and Microsoft. So if you are a Microsoft user, start looking for the Copilot symbol, and that can help you with, writing better emails or summarizing web pages or just a variety of different things. And they're getting better and better. Okay. So depending on if you're a Google user or Microsoft, or if you are a Microsoft user and still want to use Google Gemini, highly recommend, especially since Nano Banana, which is the really great image editor, came out inside of Gemini. Okay, so you can still do that even though you might be using Microsoft for your email. You can still just sign up. It's $20 a month. I do recommend you do whatever subscription you choose here. You do not use the free version because you're not going to get as much out of it. Just invest the $20 a month into at least just one of these tools and you're going to see a big difference, okay? So ChatGPT will work well with anything, okay? There's something called connectors inside, and connectors will connect to your Microsoft inbox, your Google stuff, like your Drive, Dropbox, so many different things, okay? So inside of ChatGPT, you can connect them to other tools that you're using. So that's why ChatGPT for $20 a month is also a great option to either pair with Google Gemini, if you're a Google user, or with Microsoft Copilot, which technically is powered by ChatGPT when it comes to the Edge browser. But, they do different things because it is built for and baked into the Microsoft suite, okay? So it's not ChatGPT by itself, but it is powered by so that it can do the things inside of Microsoft. Okay, so those are three tools that you can use one or multiple of for AI on your day-to-day basis. So ChatGPT, Google Gemini, or Microsoft Copilot, depending on what your current tech stack is and what your goals are. You may mix and match these, especially if you're creating images, mix and match with that Google Gemini at this point in time. Okay, so there's that. And then we also have Perplexity's Comet browser and just Perplexity in general. So I spoke about this last month and how I've been using the Comet browser, which is technically like a search engine. It's a browser that replaces Chrome for me and Microsoft Edge and all that stuff. And I just go and open up my Comet browser, and that's where I do stuff on the internet. But when I'm logged into my email or a trade vendor website, and I say to my assistant in here, which is my agent, then, go find this email or find all the emails from this one client and then summarize everything for me. Or go to this trade vendor website and find a table that fits this, criteria and then list them all out for me. It will go and do those things, or it will help me to brainstorm or extract summaries from websites or rewrite my content in certain ways. It is just there, but it's also there inside of Microsoft's Edge, where you have the Copilot little piece that comes up as a sidebar that you can activate. It's inside of a lot of different browsers, okay? But what makes Perplexity and Comet browser different is that it's comprised of a lot of different models inside. So instead of just saying, okay, here's my question to ChatGPT, what's your answer? This is like, okay, does ChatGPT have the best answer? Does Claude by Anthropic have the best answer? What model would be the best to answer this question that I was just asked? And so Perplexity does that with also non-biased research. And one of the reasons why I've always loved it for research before the browser even came out was because if I asked a question, it would say, here's all the sources, here's the answer to your question. Now you go read about it or continue this conversation and ask me more questions about it. But it's always citing the source. And that's something that I didn't really and still don't really get with ChatGPT unless I've activated what's called deep research. Okay, so deep research is also available inside of all of these tools, and that's for just getting longer answers that are more contextualized with the content that you've given it when you ask the question. So it thinks about stuff longer versus just saying, oh, here's the answer in 5 seconds, okay? So that's another component to all of those tools, depending on which one you want to use. But Perplexity being its own browser and being agentic, meaning there's agents inside the browser that if you say, go do this task, will do that task for you. It's just really, really incredible. And I feel like I can get at least 4 times as much stuff done in a day because I can do my thing. I could be talking to my AI verbally, like we're having a conversation, or I can just have it doing tasks for me in different tabs while I'm working on something else. Okay, so that's a lot going on, but if you just wanted to have it do one thing or watch it do something, because you can see everything it's doing on your screen, then you can absolutely do that and learn how to do stuff. That's how I've actually learned how to do things within different programs, is setting my agent to do it, and then I watch it do it, and then I know how to do it for myself. Not that I would necessarily always want to do that, but it's just like a hands-on teacher that takes over your screen. So I know that security is going to be a question here, and that is going to be your choice. If you choose to use any of these tools, look at their terms and conditions. And if it aligns with your company, your standards, and your ethics, then yeah, go for it. I know that everything can be hacked. I know that my husband's Etsy account was hacked, and they started to place orders with his card. He hasn't used that account for years, forgot he even had an Etsy account. They found it, got into his email, and then, did all of these other things with information that they had on file. So really anything can be hacked, and you just have to use it in a way that you're not putting that information out there that might have sensitive information for you or your client. So when you're logged into a browser like this, I don't log into my banks when I'm logged into my Perplexity. I just don't. I don't log into the financial stuff, it doesn't need to see that. So I use a different browser that is secure. I'm not saying that this isn't secure, but I feel like I can trust it a little bit more because it'll log me out. It's not agentic built in, or I'll just use the app on my phone. It's just make your own choices when it comes to how you want to protect yourself if you do choose to use these tools. Okay, so that is a high level overview of the core tools that you could potentially be looking into. So just to recap, we've got ChatGPT, we've got Perplexity, and Comet browser. We've got Google Gemini, and we have Microsoft Copilot. Those are my top 4 that I would recommend for interior design industry members. There's so many out there, guys. There's all these other options too, but I feel like those are the most user-friendly for what we do in our industry, okay? I could talk about other ones, but it's a waste of your time. Okay, so now let's talk about what exactly am I doing within these programs, and which one do I prefer right now, because they are neck and neck. I could recommend one to you this week, and then next week this other one is doing it better. That's just kind of where we're at, where everybody is in this race to be the best and to do it fastest. But I have found with these core tools that I listed, they're always the top runners. So if you are is there apps that I could use that would do this too? Yes, but those apps are really just a wrapper So that's like the same thing that I was just explaining with Perplexity's built-in browser agent. So the only difference is that ChatGPT's is like, you're either using it through the app or you're using it through any browser, and it does stuff for you, but you have to activate it, and you get like 40 a month, I think, where Perplexity, I get like unlimited. I haven't capped it, and it's just kind of built into my $20 per month plan. So, agentic AI is now being built into these other programs as well, but I love that it's just kind of part of Perplexity and the browser for Comet. It's not like this extra thing that I have to go and do and toggle on, okay? So deep research, though, circling back to that, deep research is inside of all 4 of those tools. You find it through the prompt box, and what it can help you do is, once you give it context, or if you give it access specifically to one of your connectors, so that would be like your Dropbox, your inbox, like calendar stuff. Once you give it access to that, and it is per session, if you're in ChatGPT that you would have to grant access, then it can research whatever question you've asked it. So this is where you give it like an in-depth question and you say, okay, here's the context, here's the information, here's maybe a spreadsheet of products that I'm considering, but half of these are out of stock. Can you go find solutions for me that are in stock? And then give me a fresh spreadsheet of all of those things right here. Those types of things are for deep research. It thinks longer, it scours thousands of websites, or it'll look through the context that you have also provided and access the tools or connectors that you want it to go look in. So your inbox, things like that. Okay, so that is deep research. I do talk about this in the AI basics classes that I offer. So you're welcome to check out the Everyday AI webinar that I did last week. Covers all of that, okay? It's also inside the daily. We got some prompts in there for you too. Okay, and then I talked about agentic AI, so Perplexity and also ChatGPT. We're going to see a lot of models starting to come out with this and have it actually functioning well. It's been around, guys. It's just not great at what I would actually use it for. So it's starting to pop up because it's getting better inside of all these models. Okay, and then for inspirational images or project imagery, that would be Gemini is my go-to right now, Nano Banana, if you've heard about that, for editing those photos and for, putting real products into real spaces, using chat-based formats versus going to Canva or Photoshop and stuff like that. You can still absolutely use those tools. It makes better prompts, makes better images if you do have those types of things. But if you're trying to create images from scratch, Gemini is great. ChatGPT is also great. And then Midjourney. And previously I would have said also Visual Electric, but Visual Electric just got acquired this week by Perplexity. So I am really excited to see that, with Perplexity and Visual Electric being 2 of my favorites for the past 2 years. Really excited to see the combination of the images and then Perplexity's search engine, agentic AI, all that stuff. It should be really cool. Okay, so finding so mock-ups would be under that same category. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes. Mock-ups for, real spaces, real products. Gemini would be my top for that. ChatGPT can do it. And I've been talking about ChatGPT doing it all summer, actually. But I have just found that the accuracy and consistency inside of Gemini has just been better. But give it 2 months and we'll see if ChatGPT, catches up and goes up to being the best again. We'll have to see. And then for video or creating, videos from scratch, creating animations from your existing project information. So this could be walkthrough tour videos that you want to create of either befores, afters, see them together, process photos, those types of things. You can do all of that also in Gemini VO3. You're going to get a certain amount of video credits if you're just chatting with your Google Gemini every single month. Every day. I think you get 5 videos every day if you're on the $20 a month plan. Midjourney also does really great videos for interior design. Okay, that one you could be on a $10 a month plan. And that one has not become obsolete yet. I don't actually think in the near future that Midjourney will become obsolete because it's different. It's different than all of these other AI image generators and video generators. So if you're like, well, why can't I just use Gemini or ChatGPT to create these images and videos, which you can, you're just gonna get one at a time. Where in Midjourney or Visual Electric, you're getting like 4 at a time. So it's just going faster. You got more to choose from. You also had some other customization options to just make it go faster. But if you're like photo editing and chatting and stuff like that, and getting really accurate results, then Gemini right now is gonna be your best bet. But for taking your actual photos or designs or renders, final stuff or stuff before, I would go with Gemini VO3 for video or Midjourney. And the little trick to that, just so you have it, is always walk forward in your space, okay? Or scene 2 photos together in Midjourney and say, here's 2 photos, here's the starting, here's the ending. Now I need you to pan the camera and make sure it doesn't make anything up, okay? If it goes off camera, it doesn't know what's over there. So that's how you create these little 5 to 8 second videos in these tools. Just say, walk forward, pan forward, because that's what it knows. That's what's in the photo and it doesn't have to make it up. Okay, so little tips for you. And then the last thing I got here is for floor plans. And this is actually one of my biggest questions that I get from interior designers, which is kind of surprising to me, because this is quite honestly what sets us apart from the machines. And floor plans and understanding 3-dimensional space and how humans actually function in a space is something that I don't see AI being able to really ever truly get down and truly understand. There's tools out there now, and there's integrations inside of a lot of our, professional softwares that can help you generate, AI generate floor plans and layouts. But in the end, humans will always be the best viewers, the best creators of floor plans. So even if you use AI to have you like kind of build out floor plans, you have to understand the space and how to read a floor plan and how that translates into the real world. And that's where we're special, right? That's where we understand that gap between the 2-dimensional plans and how it's really going to come together in fruition. And none of that will ever change. None of that is going to change for us. That is what we do. So floor plans, you still got to do them. There's tools that can help you inside of those plans, but realistically, like humans will always need to be there. So, when I meet drafters and stuff, I'm like, oh, love to meet you because you're still going to have a job. Like I really, truly believe that drafters and, people that do floor plans themselves will have a job. Your technology is going to get better to create those faster because they're so time consuming, because they need the level of accuracy, right? But they will get more improved and your process will get smoother with those types of programs. I mean, I've been rendering I started with Google SketchUp back in 2007, and I've been rendering ever since. Don't love the floor plan part with the meticulousness. So I hear ya, where it's like I would love a substitution, but also there's really no substitution in the end. We have to put eyes on it to make sure that it's going to be good. So those are the tools that I'm currently using. That's where I'm at right now with AI. And I just wanted to come and give you guys an update, because if you're using all these other programs, maybe you can start canceling some subscriptions and start consolidating, because there's a lot of these big models that are now doing what a lot of these little apps were doing, making them obsolete and making it easier for you and more affordable to just have to pay like $20 to do that one thing. So more updates coming for you next month, but thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.